Good morning, everyone. I'm Sister Jenna, your host for our new America Meditating segment called Wise-ish. It's your power boost for the morning. It's for you to take your dose for your inner cure. Join us every day, Monday through Friday, from 8:30 a.m. to 8:45 ET. Don't forget, take your dose. See you soon.
For thousands of years, people have practiced meditation for spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being. But from a scientific perspective, how exactly does meditating affect your body? Does it really do anything? It all starts in the brain. During meditation, brain scans see increased activity in regions directly correlated with decreased anxiety and depression, along with increased pain tolerance. The default mode network, in particular, is activated when one's mind is at rest and not focusing on the outside world, and has been found to improve memory, self-awareness, and goal setting. Want to be more caring to your friends and family? When scientists compared the brains of Buddhist monks to new meditators, they found the region of the brain associated with empathy to be much more pronounced in the monks. It also literally changes your brain waves, and we can measure these frequencies. Meditators have higher levels of alpha waves, which have been shown to reduce feelings of negative mood, tension, sadness, and anger. And if that wasn't enough, it also physically changes our brain shape and size. Studies found that after 8 weeks of a meditation program, gray matter was more dense in areas associated with learning, memory processing, and emotion regulation. And yet the amygdala, which deals with stress, blood pressure, and fear, had decreased gray matter. When we look at the entire body, not only do we see decreased blood pressure, but it can also increase the variability of your heart rate. And while this may sound harmful, it actually plays a critical role in properly transporting oxygen and carbon dioxide throughout your body. Think you're getting sick? In a study where both meditators and non-meditators were given the flu virus, meditators were able to produce a greater number of antibodies and had increased immune function. If we go a little deeper, we can even see changes on a cellular level. Your chromosomes have protective protein complexes called telomeres, which help reduce damage to your DNA and lower cell death. And a shortened telomere length has been linked to several diseases such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and cancer. Amazingly, when cancer survivors completed a meditation program, their bodies showed significant increases in telomere length. It's believed that psychological intervention, particularly decreasing stress, has a direct effect on the enzyme telomerase, which has been shown to counteract shortening by adding DNA to the shrinking telomeres. Of course, meditation is not a substitute for other medical advice or a healthy lifestyle. We don't want you leaving this video thinking it will cure cancer. But much like hitting the gym can grow your muscles and increase your overall health, it seems that meditation may be a way of working out your brain with extra health benefits. And since your brain controls, well, all of you, why not relax and say, every once in a while.
And welcome, Om Shanti. Welcome to your spiritual vaccine hour. I was just telling Santosh I love that little video. It's gorgeous, that little essence-full video on the benefits of meditation. And it's a long-term journey, no? Meditation is not just about thinking, but it's about thinking thoughts that are purposeful and pulling you towards your preordained destiny. Like, I really feel things are fixed, things are destined to happen for you, not to you. Things are destined to happen for you so that other things can happen with you, with you and not just to you, but other things can open up, other things can start to blossom as things are happening for you. It will keep pulling you and leading you to your amazing preordained destiny that's actually trying to pull you up. That's the law of the nature right now. If you look at what's going on in the world, we're actually being called to be pulled up because we've been down for too long. We've been down for too long. How many of you saw Oprah Winfrey's own network, Where Do We Go From Here? Where Do We Go Now? I think that was the title. Thumbs up. If you haven't seen it, please go to OWN Network. They did part 1 yesterday, and they're doing part 2 this evening. And the reason why I've asked you to go to this is because not only are the conversations and narratives mature, but despite the intellectuality and the maturity, you can still sense the rawness of the pain that has been carried over for generations upon generations. And I think the question that I have, because I was in a meeting this week with the evolutionary leaders, and there was a segment, yes, it was yesterday, right, Santosh, I think, that came up about racism again. And it was inserted in the retreat because it had not really been discussed. And the person who was elected to share her her opinion of what it has meant to be an African American in this country, and this is a woman that has traveled the world and is a musician and has a very, very large following. You could also feel the rawness. And I think what it is for me is sometimes there's a question, a feeling, and you sometimes don't know what to do with the rawness. And if you had watched the Wisest segment this morning, I spoke about a compassionate heart. And my spin on my definition of a compassionate heart was a heart that held no prejudice. And the second aspect was, how can you offer that silent, sacred, compassionate space to listen when you feel powerless in helping, when you don't know what to say. And sometimes I feel like the rawness that we are living through with the culture, with African American plight in the United States of America and maybe around the world, is how do we hold that sacred, safe space for our brothers and sisters to be as raw as they need to be, because they've been holding that dignity and holding the truth of the injustice that has been imposed on the narrative of their lives, on the karmas of their lives. And it's almost as if they've not been given permission to let the world know this is wrong, this has to stop. And and there's this consistent handle. I remember I used to write for a magazine back in the days. I went to college for mass communications, and when I came out to do journalism, I'm just like, I don't think that's what I want to do. It turned out to be something else. But I used to write for this magazine. Let's see if I can remember. God, it was like really long time ago. Roots and Reggae. Roots and Reggae. The editor of that magazine, I don't know if he's still alive, his name was Jabulani. Jabulani. He was a Rastafarian. Super intelligent man, right? And Jabulani gave me so much permission to write and to do as much as I wanted to do with the magazine. So I used to cover a lot of performances. I used to write for performances and people that were doing particular artistic things. But I remembered writing a piece on the hand and the blade, because I remembered showing Sister Gita, my mother, that article. And it was basically about how certain race has you like they're holding you, they have a handle on you. And even though you're sharp and can do so much, because they're handling you, they don't use you, they don't allow you to be used, they don't allow your life to be used effectively. Anyway, long story short, I remembered crying and telling my mother that why it's just not fair. I used to cry and tell her I hated injustices as a child. I go, it's just not right, Mom. I mean, blacks shouldn't be treated like this. It's not right. There's nothing wrong with us. And she just said, Hun, don't worry, all our souls playing their part, and it will pass. And she said, there is a law of karma going around, but it's a very powerful, when a soul is in the body of an African person, she was telling me this, and I'm trying to remember all the words, but I'm getting pretty close. She says, when a soul is in an African body, it's the karma in which they're building up such a power and such a strength that in their next incarnation, that power will yield other stories. And so being about 18 or 19, you're young, you're impressionable, you're working your stuff, you're a shaker and a mover, you like to do things really effective and fast. I'm thinking about what she said. I was 1920. I was in that age group because I was still in college for mass communications, and I'd gotten that job in Roots and Reggae with Jabulani. And yeah, wow, how memories do come back, huh? God, I totally forgot that story. And she just said that when the soul is in the African body, they're building a great amount of power and resilience. So as they move on, they will continue to take that power with them. So what does that mean to me today? I would say she was right, and I would say as well that it's true. There is such a strength, there's such a power. I don't know if for those of my friends who are not African Americans or brown or beige, so to speak, with a little bit of color, when you've spent time, genuine just friendship time, sitting over a meal, just talking, and you become colorblind, there is such a richness, such a strength, such a power with the souls that are playing the part of African Americans. And I've gotten into quite a number of altercations, verbal, when I've expressed my opinion on various platforms or in certain circles, and it's been also from individuals with great tans. And I would say, don't call yourself Black American, please don't. You're an African American. And they used to really tell me why it was so important to define the Blackism. And I go, I don't have any problems with being called Black or whatever. I'm just saying, if you forget where you've come from, though, and the depth of that strength of that kingship and quality, you might fall under the prey of something that's been comprised by individuals who didn't understand the depths of your roots and the strength of your culture. And even though research has been done to try to understand various traditions, to see whoever can control and whoever can rule, I'm just questioning right now how the power of one man being killed with a knee has woken up this country and the world. And there are times you sit at home and you might watch the television, or you get on your smartphone and you go into your social media. You look at the news and you feel powerless. You're like, how can I help here? How can I possibly make a difference? Because I want to. I can go out and protest, and then I'm scared of COVID. I can perhaps go to Congress and stuff, but we also know that there are certain people in very powerful positions that are the ones that we need to really approach and address to see what change is going to occur. And there was a video in Oprah's presentation last night, and it was this woman who, African American, beautiful woman, very emphatic about, listen, we're not here. It was a very interesting way she ended the story. She says, you're lucky we're not here to seek revenge. We just want our equal rights. And I just said it was so powerful. And what it defined for me is the beauty of the race. That imagine if the race had just been given the same rights to be educated, to work hard, to procreate, to have children, to build communities. What would the world be like if everyone just had a chance to step up and to step in? And I'm remembering the story today because June 10th is a very special day for me in particular, and for many of us in the Brahma Kumaris in the Washington metropolitan area. It's Dadi Prakashmani Day. And I'm thinking about the power of one and how these pods of ones, the impact one person can have on our world. And it's not just you having an impact on a million lives, or, for example, how many people follow Facebook, Santosh? 2 billion people, I think I heard on the report recently. 2 or 3 billion people are on Facebook. That means it's given that weight and that power. And that means it just has the power to influence, and yet at the same token, it has become a tool that has become very detrimental in people's lives as well. So the point that I'm making is that your power of one doesn't necessarily have to span to 3 billion people, 1 billion, 1 million. It can impact one soul who can impact another one, who can impact another one, and who can impact another one. I want to talk about the story of Brahma Baba, the founder of the Brahma Kumaris. And maybe like you and me, we were just walking along manning our own business. We weren't asking nobody for nothing. And he just had a very profound spiritual awakening. There was this gentle entry of God's light. And I think God will enter each of us at a particular time in our journey. Either the energy of God will slip in at the night when I'm sleeping, or the energy of God would slip into my consciousness when I'm going through a crisis, or the energy of God might slip in when I'm washing the dishes, or when I've got 1 foot out of the car door and one foot inside the car. And the energy of God's awakening slips into your consciousness. But no matter what, one day the energy will slip in. For me, it was almost 30 years ago. For Sister Gita, over 35 years. For Santosh, almost 30 years, right? 25 or so. So the energy will slip in. And once it slips in, it awakens you. And these eyes kind of go like this, and this eye starts to see through these. Like this eye opens up. And it starts to reshape these eyes. So where you used to see like this, you start to see like this. That's what happens when God slips into your consciousness. So it was interesting how one man, Brahma Baba, I don't know if you have a picture of him. I don't know if that will be easy for you to show on the picture screen, Santosh. Hate to make him get stressed out in the middle of a production. But one man had an awakening and a download of the gentle entry of God's presence, waking up his consciousness, and that light slipped in. And the moment that light slipped in, his whole energy opened up. And Dadi Prakashmani, who I want to feature today because it's a special day, the former mayor of Washington, D.C., had proclaimed June 10th as Dadi Prakashmani Day. And we also have an official government peace tree planted on the United States Capitol, right next to the Peace Monument. But this one person, Brahma Baba, awakened a community of over 1 million students strong right now in the world. And all those students today are studying religiously, like they're studying so deeply every day since the stay-at-home orders have been issued. And see if Santosh can put up a picture for those of you who have never seen him. Could you make it a little bit bigger by chance? Yeah? He's working on it. But look at what that one man did. From his oneness. I just want you to look at his features, and I wish it was a bigger picture with his eyes, but he has the most, it's okay Santosh, he has the most compassionate eyes that you'll ever see. And in India, you always think like when a man is very spiritual and you call him your guru, they have all these long beards and they don't shave and the hair is long. For Brahma Baba, he wasn't like that. He was like a spiritual father for everyone, you know. And because of his awakening came what we would call our older sisters in the Brahma Kumaris. Dadi Prakashmani came, who was one of the first ones. Dadi Janki, who you all hear me talk a lot about, who passed away on March 27th at 104 years old. Dadi Gulza, who was one of our special mediums, special trance messengers. Dadi Ratanmini. Dadi means elder sister. And all of these young ladies who were uneducated have gone on to impact the hearts of hundreds of thousands of people, not even virtually, but personally. They have empowered lives. They have awakened the role, especially of women, to step into their power and to come out of the shadows of feeling or believing that they're third-class citizens. Interesting, isn't it? One person, the power of one. And I'm sharing tonight about the power of one because I suspect every one of you watching tonight, you're the one that the world has been waiting for. And all you have to do is to listen. Listen to your deepest longings. Listen to God in silence. Listen to what your heart says. Listen. Listen and ask the right questions. And when that slip happens, I think it'll be very powerful. I want to show you a video of Dadi Prakashmani because I think it gives you a little bit of an insight of a mentor that has contributed tremendously to my spiritual path, but has also contributed tremendously to the path of so many. And on this particular day in Washington, D.C., 21 years ago, she placed her feet here, and the ground has been flourishing ever since. Enjoy this video.
Thank you for your inspiration, for your life and love. Thank you for your recognition of the one above. Thank you for your sweet compassion, for your life of truth. Thank you for walking on this earth. Thank you for being you. Thank you
That video brings back sweet memories. There was a young man who had entered the meditation museum in downtown Silver Spring when we had first opened up. And he was a little bit, looking for himself and hadn't really had a place that he could call home. And one of the things that he was doing are these little productions of videos. And it was Sister Gita that actually brought him in. I'm telling you, Sister Gita has brought so many souls into awakening their destiny. And he was the one that put together that little video out of love for what he felt from the care that was offered in the community. So it's just a lovely thing. So I have a question for everyone who's watching tonight. Is there a person in your life that has made a tremendous impact? And I'd love for you to put it in the comments field and share, just the name of that person who moved you, who moved your spirit into being a better version of yourself, and to what extent are you flourishing from that encounter with that particular person? I'm really open to seeing that and maybe hearing your story if it's possible. I think on Facebook, if anyone has any thoughts or question, I can go there and see. Because I feel that a lot of times, I remembered one day, I caught myself thinking about a particular situation and person who, had been a person who I'm saying this very intentionally, something in my thinking had attracted this person in my life. And as a result, it was very painful. It gave a lot of sorrow, this particular relationship. And one day I was looking through the window and I said to myself, why am I thinking of this person who was the cause of such suffering in my life, such sorrow in my life? And I have some of the most beautiful people in my life that I can remember, with that fragrance. And the reason why I'm asking you to think of the power of that one person in your life that has just inspired you, has woken you up, has touched your heart, even if it's recent, even if it's just a recent encounter, that's the person you give your good wishes to. Because I remembered when I caught myself thinking of this person that was instrumental in sorrow for me, I just says, why am I doing that? When I can think of all these people who I love and who deeply love me and trust me, and they trust me. And maybe this person doesn't trust me, and that hurts that the person didn't trust me. And I go, why wouldn't they trust me? I've been so authentic and honest and open from I've known the person. But in terms of their interpretation of trustworthiness, I think it came from maybe some different dimension. So who is that one person? Let me hear some of the people that maybe has been your one. Anyone would like to share? Hello, Neraman Zucker and Celia, Lindia, Vashti, nice to have you. Lydia Ruiz, nice to have you present. Mali, good to have you. Mali, you haven't done the Raj Yoga course yet. Why not? You would love it, Okay, then. So, do we have anybody? It's from me, you sister. Oh, Nita, you're so sweet. Oh, come on. I wasn't asking for answers for me. Really, I was really looking for you to share. Carlos, my boss from my very first job, was so inspiring and uplifting and fun and playful and positive. His energy was so full of love. You just wanted to be around him. What a lovely story. So greetings to Carlos. He's the one. He's the one that impacted you. And by the way, Portia and Nita, I am receiving your blessings. So don't think. I just, we always try to balance our humility with knowing that we really deeply appreciate your blessings. So Rich Key Music, I think that's also Ashish and his buddy. Hi, welcome. I know you're doing some great DJ work out there. So glad that you could join us for your spiritual vaccine hour. I was told that before spiritual vaccine comes on, they jam to the 80s and they get pumped up just to sit to listen to spiritual vaccine. So we're very happy to have that. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Gita. Very sweet. Thank you. Sister Gita, thank you. Thank you, darling. Thanks. So, Shami, so I have a work colleague called Christine who mentioned about the BK course being offered in my city. I heard her, but never really actioned it until I ran into her almost after 18 months when she said, "The course opened my heart," she said. Wonderful. Queen Rising. Oh, have I definitely been one? That's so sweet. Sister, at every step I had someone in my life, Dr. Ambati said. Very sweet. Sukwin, my mother, Sister Shivani, Sister Denise, and you, Sister Jenna. Good wishes and blessings. Christine speaks so softly and she's always sending love and light to everyone. Oh, beautiful. And the children do it for me. Lovely. Queen Rising says, Ashley is my one. She has really shown me what it is to receive unconditional love. I'm sharing this with you because I think it's so important for us to acknowledge those one individuals, the power of the ones that really make a difference, and to not waste your energy on the ones who don't. Look, George Floyd was that one sacrifice, another sacrifice in the American narrative, but the one sacrifice that was sacrificed at a particular time that had to wake up this country. Brahma Baba was the one that made his sacrifice of moving away from a world that he was so used to, and he woke up hundreds of thousands of women who started to believe in themselves and to become powerful voices of transformation. I'm mentioning the role of Dadi Prakashmani, who became the one who, through her sweetness, her spirituality, her kindness, her purity. If you had met Dadi Prakashmani, everyone, her energy of her purity was so palpable that if she just touched you, you felt an energy flowing through your system. When she smiled at you, you felt like you were blessed by a goddess. And something I heard, and I've heard this before too. I've heard it quite a number of times, and I've thought it was very powerful. That the track record that Dadi Prakashmani had in the Brahma Kumaris community is that she had never, ever told a lie. That was the depth of her character. She had never told a lie. And we have to look at that power of one as a sample, a very beautiful sample and example as to how do we all rise above all of this incredible transitioning that's happening, that's coming with such raw emotions and energies every day in our faces. How do we turn to those with such purity, which is why I told you, why do we listen to the people or remember the people who gave us sorrow, right? Versus the people who have modeled love, joy, kindness, generosity, peace. And we have to rewire our brain to believe in the stronger one. So Ashe Ashe, Denise Withers, my supervisor Derek Williams, who encouraged me to go back to school and get my master's degree. Yep. Power to Derek Williams. That's what I'm saying. There are these one-on-one people that we bump into that they awaken us. They see us. They see into us. The power of one. The power of one. Bishop Carlton Pearson, Nicole. I didn't know that. Bishop Carlton, oh, and Sister Jenna. Both of you have impacted my continued journey of transcendence. Oh, that is such an honor. Thanks, Nicole. That is so sweet of you to say. Because Bishop Carlton Pearson is up there. He was with TD last week. I got a note from them. It was very sweet. All right, so thank you for sharing that. And Ranju says, my mother is a spiritual teacher of the Brahma Kumaris for the last 30 years, and she has also been one that has uplifted his life. Beautiful, beautiful stories. I think it's important that we look at that, because when we bump into that one person, they can change, they can shift the story. And I want to show you a little bit of the story of what happened after Dadi Prakashmani came into Washington, D.C. for a few hours. She was supposed to stay for a night and a half. And I remembered we had had Congress lined up for her, the Washington National Cathedral, and the National Press Club. But there were some changes at regional headquarters, and unfortunately she was no longer able to stay with us. And we had to cancel all of our other programs on Facebook. And so that was so disappointing for me, because I was this young, energetic, spiritual little warrior, and I was ready to do some magic. And then it all got canceled on me. Boy, was that humbling, I have to tell you. Humble pie. I ate so much, I must have gained so much weight. So anyway, Lindia, another major person has been you, Sister Jenna. You came to my mind first. Working together on the Oprah Belief program is how we met. Lydia, remember? And we did that program together at the Washington Monument. You did a great job. You're such a beautiful spirit, Lindia Grant. I remember you very well. After listening to Sister Shivani, I did the meditation course and it changed my life. Since then, I've been very happy. That's Sudha Gunrania. Sudha, thank you. I'm so glad Sister Shivani helped your life. For Marissa Lopez, it was Dadi Janki. Her childlike innocence and unconditional love and sweetness impacted me very deeply. It was Dadi Janki, Marissa, who believed in me, that brought me into my spiritual journey. Or as you wouldn't be seeing me one bit, not one bit. Diamond, you know you inspire us, Diamond. So Diamond said, it's you, Sister Jenna, you've inspired me. And so I think we need to remember these people instead of the ones that continue to give us suffering or pain. We shouldn't remember those people anymore. I remember George Floyd. Remember I told you I haven't watched the video? And then I keep hearing more and more like, oh, it's when he called out for his mother. And just hearing the stories, I could feel my emotions coming up. But when I think of the soul in the body of George Floyd, I felt this gentle, compassionate person. And I've never met him. I don't know who he is. But I go, he was a gentle, compassionate giant. And so when you remember people who have put value into your life, and I think what George Floyd has done for the United States of America is that his power of one and his sacrifice is reigniting the value of America and American people. And I hope you can see what I'm trying to say, because I'm actually pulling from a subtle interpretation of my energy of this beautiful spirit. Whatever his plight was, whatever was his story, that's when you think of him, there's something in his spirit that had a goodness about him. Or is that spirit in him would not have awakened the country like this. And I'm not saying all the other lives that were taken by police officers weren't good. That's not what I'm saying. But the goodness of his spirit being sacrificed at a particular time after a pandemic, I think catapulted this whole awakening. Don't you think so, Santosh? Don't you think there is just something in this moment historically that has just gotten everybody talking and feeling like, what am I doing with my one? What am I doing with my power of one? And how am I showing up with whatever my platform is? Your platform could be your family, your friends, your colleagues, your work, social media, your museums, your music, your songs. I have to play with you this cute little song that came from one of our students. We call her Little Jen. And she put a post today honoring Dadi Prakashmani, and that she was remembering the powerful influence that this one choice and one experience with Dadi had meant to her in her coming to the Brahma Kumaris. It's her first time singing and publicly, so please note you're not listening to Beyonce or Amy Winehouse or Adele, but you're listening to someone who is stripping away all of her body consciousness and just wants to sing from the energy of her heart. So I hope you'll appreciate her innocent contribution in honor of Dadi Prakashmani Day. Here's Jenna Cleason, who's a self-taught artist, and now I will say a nice little singer. Thanks, little Jen.
Last night I dreamt of a deity within me, longing to renew what's lost. Return my light, the purity, the sight. Settle my karma, pay the cost. We fell so far, battling with ourselves, snug in Maya's embrace. So restore me to Sita or Venus, any goddess of love, Aphrodite or Parvati, reignite, it will be enough. But I've no temples to welcome you home. Broken, forgotten, only a shadow remains, this fragrance from a golden age, falling through time, forgetting what is mine, how I long to turn the page. Sing a song only my heart can hear, sculpt a new world through me, because the world needs Sita or Venus, any goddess of love, Aphrodite or Parvati, reignite, will be enough. But I've no temples to welcome you home. A footprint remains, a soft echo sustains, to the deepest truths we're bound. A palace of light, a star so bright, Aphrodite or Parvati can make you their beloved, and only God can welcome you home.
Wasn't that sweet and adorable? Again, I think we're at a particular period in our lives. Let us move away from the illusion of all the pomp that media has served us. You know, and I'm not discrediting the Beyoncés on all these incredible performers that have practiced and trained for hours upon hours on their specific talent and their specific dance moves. But how many of us one individuals, how many of us ones that are out there that just have a good heart and we just want to sing from our hearts and that it's okay and that it's enough. And I really feel we've got to get to this point in our lives where we are okay with our oneness so we can become one with one another. You see, one person can plant a seed because of their intention, thoughts, vibrations, the way they've lived, the way they're showing up in the world. They can plant such a seed that it can bring about tremendous, tremendous growth. And let me show you just in the last 21 years alone what's happened since Dadi Prakashmani's footsteps landed here on June 10th. I remember that day very well because it was the day that we signed the Kosovo peace treaty. It was the Clinton administration, and President Clinton had sent us a beautiful letter welcoming Dadi to the nation's capital and giving us congratulations for the work that we had done. And this is 20 years ago, right? This is 21 years. We hadn't even really gone deep into service. So this was Dadi at the press club with Sister Kala. And since then, you know, on June 10th, the former mayor, Anthony Williams, had offered a proclamation of the day to be the day of the Dadi Prakashmani. Oh, there's a proclamation, right? And I remembered getting that beautiful document. And it wasn't for me just a paper or an accolade. And one of our wonderful, wonderful members and family member and brother David was the one who had presented it to Dadi. And in my heart, when I received that document, I just knew it was more than just a piece of paper, but it was going to be more than that. And the following year, everyone, we planted. There was some need for the Washington, D.C. area to begin to focus on the environment, and we got the approval by the U.S. Capitol grounds, where we have a commemorative tree called the Om Shanti Peace Tree, which is planted right by the Krista McCullough tree on Capitol Hill. And we also had other peace tree planted in different years, one and on the United States ground of the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, which was right before 9/11. And right after 9/11, we were asked to come in and to do some prayers and stuff, which was very heartwarming because it was on the side where the peace tree was. I had received messages from the chaplain at the time that soldiers were going by the peace tree to pray and to meditate. So and this was because she stepped into Washington once. Move on for me. And I'm showing this to everyone today. Not only are we commemorating our time with her and the 21 years of service because of her, but I'm hoping this will be an inspiration for you as well to really, really think about, never underestimate the power of your one and what your life can bring to the world. So this was a really powerful project, everyone. Envision a city of values. We wrote letters to all the embassies, inviting each embassy to share with us what is that value that they have brought into the nation's capital that represents their country. So we asked them, tell us what's your country's strongest values, and then, how you brought that here to the United States and is now offering it as a blessing. And so we'd first started off with envision a city and then realized that this was a world of values because in Washington, D.C., the world gathered here. And we partnered with a wonderful organization that we'd come in contact with called the International Child Art Foundation that offered us the illustrations of the artwork. I wish I could find those art pieces again, everyone. We had those banners around Judiciary Square in different parts of Washington, D.C. So when you would drive around the city, you would see these values that various countries had said, we bring this into the America as our offering from our motherland. And then I remembered we had the sniper shooting. Remember that time, everyone, how rough it was in Washington? The sniper shooting, the anthrax. And we had this artist from Australia who's now residing in India. And together we designed this banner called Remember Me. And I took this banner around and asked people, what do you feel when you look at it? And so many people said, bodiless. And these banners were designed to help people to transcend from the attachment to the world of sorrow into the loving, protecting energy of God's light. And those were put up all over Embassy Row and different places. And as a result of this, Santosh, the chaplain of the Pentagon used to drive that route. And he was struck by this banner. And that's how we ended up doing a Remember Me conference at the Pentagon. And that's where we met Portia Davidson for the first time. Let's see the next page. Portia, remember that day with me and Deepak Chopra and all of us? That was amazing, right? You just have to switch the next page. So then we had the Tree of Blessings, which actually little Jen, who you saw performed just now for the first time to sing, designed this graphic artwork here called the Tree of Blessings. That was on June 10th, 2007. Because America was going through so much, we had invited people from all around the world, from all 6 continents. People sent in their blessings, everyone, of good wishes to Washington, D.C. It was a time where there was the war in Iraq, there was a lack of trust in America, and it really called the hearts of people from around the globe to send their blessings to us to help us. And so the following, I think that year, we also put those blessings on the Dadi Prakashmani peace tree, which you can see in that picture there. It was so nice, huh? Next page. Oh, there it is. Go back one more. Here's one of my favorites, Kites for Peace. Oh, that was so much fun. When the Iraq war was going, now remember this, everyone, this is on June 10th. Every year we were doing a special project. And this is all coming because of the purity of Dadi Prakashmani's presence. So we purchased all these plain kites and we invited kids to write on those kites blessings and good wishes for children in war-torn areas. And so they would buy the kites, they would paint on the kites and give particular messages of hope to other kids that were in war-torn countries, like especially in Iraq. And they flew these kites on the Washington Mall. Some of them were in Kauai. We had Kite Day in different times. And they all donated these kites to children in Iraq. There were children in Georgia when Russia was going in to take over, was it Croatia or somewhere like that? Georgia, and then in Nigeria, in Haiti. It just went on. And one of the most touching scenes that came out of Kites for Peace, there was an orphanage of children who had been misplaced because of war. But these particular children, majority of them were handicapped. So they were in wheelchairs. And the Kites for Peace were donated to, some of the kites were donated to those children in Georgia. And the director of that orphanage had said she had not seen these kids so happy, because they were holding the kites as they were wheeling their wheelchair, and they were flying the kites in their wheelchair. And this was all the way in Georgia at the time, not Atlanta, Georgia, Georgia, on the border of Russia. So another year, Dancing for Peace, and that image, I think that image had gotten into the front page of the Washington Metro section. So we had invited youths to come up with a dance routine that would emanate peace. And so we want to thank Abigail Francisco School of Classical Ballet, who actually came up with some beautiful, talented stuff. What a beautiful backdrop, huh? In 2009. The slogan of that project was, "Where there is truth, the soul dances." That was a great day, remember? We had so many people come out and offer dance routines for peace. These things I want to do again, I tell you. Next. Then we celebrated the Good Vibes Peace Festival, again, because of Dadi's Day, and Clara Sever, who had commissioned and created a sculpture of Dadi Prakashmani, which was unveiled in the museum at that particular time by Sister Mohini, the president of the Brahma Kumari. So we had put together all the projects that we had done in those 10 years, and Sister Gita was a dancing yogi, I have to tell you. She had everybody in that conga line, doing conga dance, conga line. It was so cute. She was just like, oh, conga, conga, and she was doing the dance routine, you know. She was so sweet. So then we had the Just a Minute, which was experimentations of silence. We had a wonderful discussions and programs where we held programs at the Veterans Plaza. And we actually have been doing this research by a scientist known as Bob Dratch, where he was looking at how silence and technology can actually change the atmosphere. So that was the year we started to get engaged with that particular research project. I have to catch up on how that's doing. Bob Dratch was also instrumental in one of the scientists to help to create the GPS. So he was a pretty well-known scientist. And of course, the wonderful America Meditating came. And the idea of that is invite the world to pause for peace from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Are you all enjoying my journey down memory lane? And then you remember the Boston Marathon bombing that took place in 2013? So we thought that in order to kind of cool the fear and the pain that was happening in the country, we decided to do a meditation marathon 13. Breathe, believe, and become good. All because of the power of one person. Move on. Karma Cafe, we went around to different coffee shops, different places. We created cafe-style settings, and we had cards that had life questions in them that would create more of a sense of community, was bringing people together in community and breaking that division and separation that people tend to have, especially in public places where they only stay with people that they know. So they would have questions. So, you know, some of the questions would be like, what is at the root of your power? And so we would put the questions on the table, and we would have strangers really just talking to each other based on a life question. And it would create such a deep sense of community. It really weaved communities together. It's actually one of my other favorite ones, which I wish to just really keep going. So we're inviting all the volunteers who are watching tonight's program to get involved with our work so we can do more. So Meditation on Wheels, where we went out and offered meditation in the RV. where people would come into the RV to meditate. And the time for election, Meditate the Vote, was both of a collaboration with America Meditating Radio and the Meditation Museum, where we invited people to really ask some serious questions before they would put their vote into their ballot, but to really think about who they're voting for they know would make a difference. So thanks to Andy Shalal at Busboy Poets, who is a big supporter of that particular initiative. And Lindia also did a wonderful show on that as well. And I see Crystal there, and I think, yeah, I see her there. And we also have other projects. Thanks, Santosh. That really brought me down memory lane. Did you all like that? Please tell me I didn't bore you to death taking you down the memory lane of just one person comes into the nation's capital and blossoms all of this beautiful energy. Look at how that one person created such a beautiful energy in the hearts of so many people. So after that, we've had other projects. One of them that we've just done recently, Say Hello to Your Neighbor. I just felt like people were not communicating anymore, so we have a little card, and on the back of the card you wrote a blessing or a good wish, and you gave a treat to your neighbor just to let them know you're in town and this is who you are and you're next door and love to meet with you. So this really touched my heart today, everyone. I hope you know that. Just don't give up on the power of your one. You could be the one that the world is actually waiting for. Okay? So anyone would like to share anything? I'd love to dance with Sister Gita, Queen Rising. Oh yeah, the whole world wants to dance with Sister Gita. Lovely. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I really enjoyed this memory, Lane. I really hope you could feel our love and our genuine care for. Sometimes we travel down a path and we're not waiting for credit. We're not really waiting for credits, but we are driven by our credits. We're inspired by our credits. Not our debit, but our credit. I got a beautiful blessing from my sister the other day. She says, Jen, you have so much credit in your account. Never ever even have a thought of any wastage about anything that happens. So I was just thinking about how much credit Dadi Prakashmani has had, but also I want you to think about how much credit you have in your account as your power of one. Never underestimate your oneness and what you can do for humanity. Okay? So we're going to close off with a meditation. Is that okay? Unless you have any questions or any thoughts. Oh, I'm so glad that you like to be with us. We love to be with you too. Yeah, everybody wants to have fun with Sister Gita. I know. She's like doing the what do you call it? The kumba? What is that thing when you're on the conga? Yeah, she was doing the conga. I actually have a picture of that. It's on one of those websites. We have to find it. But do know that if you really, there's so much with our work here, and it's such a beautiful small crew of people who are just so committed. And I see that it's the power of our one that drives us, but it's because of our love for God that we're so inspired and so driven. One, our love for God. Two, the faith, the belief, the trust that the love for God is transforming our lives. And three, we can't sit back and do nothing. We have to serve humanity with that energy of transformation and love. So we invite you to come on board, and if you like any of this, that this is not even anything, this is just the projects. Imagine we've been here for 22 years and we've done at least 20 projects, or 20 projects in the 22 years, and that's not including all the work with kids, youth's empowerment in the area of education, science, politics, the environment, social issues, social concerns. It's a wonderful life. All right, let's pause for our meditation. Does anyone have, let me see, anything to share? All right. All right. So let me know if there's anything else. Very good. Beautiful. Yeah, everyone's asking for Sister Gita tonight, but I think she just disappeared and went to her room. But I'll see if she can come out and say hello to everyone. If not tonight, we'll get her out tomorrow, and I'll get her to dance for you, which is not hard. Which is not hard to do. I just have to put on the happy song, and she just takes off and gets going. It's just such a beautiful spirit. Yeah, such a beautiful spirit, and just know that you're blessed. And the more you raise your vibrations and get over all these issues with people, whatever you think about people, if you think they've been unkind and rude and wrong and that they're evil or they're bad, can I tell you, don't waste your energy there. Forgive them. Love into them, love them, so that God's love and energy can use you for the greater good. All right, so let's take a breather and do a little nice meditation for the closing hour tonight. And thank you for joining us in our Power of One and honoring of a few of the ones that I've mentioned, but also the honoring of Dadi Prakashmani today, someone who has meant a tremendous amount in our lives. And if I was hoping if Santosh can put up a picture, do we have a picture of her? Oh, we're going to do a meditation now? Yes, okay. So, all right, ready? Take a deep breath, everyone, and enjoy sitting by the ocean with me as we go into the power of our oneness. Om Shanti. Breathe in deeply and relax. Wow. Look at that. Through the power of a single thought, you can transport your emotions and your feelings and your vibrations into a completely new space of awareness. Who am I to think that I am so powerful and so bright and so needed and valuable in the world? Who am I to accept that love is my religion and so is peace? Who am I to accept that I could be loved by God and by humanity? Well, I am that one to be loved and to be accepted. I am valuable enough to accept that my life matters and that my thought matters and that I matter to the world. So who I am is a powerful force of truth and beauty. So let us sit in this state of awareness and deepen our faith and our trust in knowing that we are the ones that the world has been waiting for.